You want success, you want greatness, then zip your mouth. Not because your voice doesn't matter, but because your actions should be screaming louder than your words. Everybody talks. Everybody posts. Everybody's got goals written in fancy journals, pinned on dream boards. But what are you doing? What are you sacrificing? You keep announcing your plans to people who aren't even running the same race. You're telling your dreams to folks who gave up on theirs. That's why nothing's moving. You're talking more than you're training. You're bragging before you've built. Body delivered with rhythmic intensity. It's time to understand this. Success ain't about showing off. It's about showing up. Every single day you say, I'm gonna be a millionaire. Zip your mouth and prove it in your discipline. You say, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds. Zip your mouth and prove it in your habits. You say, I'm building a business. Zip your mouth and show it in your hustle. Because here's the truth, real beasts move in silence. Lions don't roar when they're hunting. They lock in, they zone in, they focus, they execute. Then, when the work is done, then they roar. Some of you are draining your own energy talking too much. You're leaking power through your lips. Instead of feeding your faith, you're feeding your ego. But ego doesn't lift weights. Ego doesn't stay up late. Ego doesn't wake up early. Discipline does. It's time to go dark. Time to disappear into the grind. Zip your mouth, not because you're weak, but because you're too focused to be distracted, too hungry to be heard, too driven to explain. Let your silence make noise. Let your work be your voice. Let your discipline do the talking, closing spoken slowly and powerfully. There's power in silence. There's focus in silence. There's victory in silence. So the next time someone asks you what you're working on, just smile, nod, and zip your mouth. Then go to war in the dark so you can shine in the light. Everybody has something to say. Everybody's got a dream, a goal, a big idea they're proud to announce to the world. They post it, share it, tell their friends, tell their coworkers, tell strangers online over and over again. They've got vision boards, Instagram captions, long threads about the future they're about to build. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. None of that matters if you don't do the work. None of it. The world doesn't reward talkers. It rewards doers. You don't get a trophy for declaring what you're going to do. You earn it by what you actually do. Everybody wants to be heard, but very few want to be held accountable. It's easy to talk. It's easy to say, I'm gonna start my business, or I'm about to change my life, or just wait, I'm coming for the top. But when it's 5 a.m., and your alarm goes off, when you've got nothing in your bank account, when you're tired, when your motivation is gone, where's that same energy? Where's that voice then? It's silent, because talk doesn't pay bills. Talk doesn't transform your body. Talk doesn't build legacies. Action does. You can't keep hyping yourself up for what's coming when you haven't done what needs to be done today. Some people are in love with the idea of success, but they're not married to the process. They're addicted to the sound of their own voice, to the attention they get when they announce big things, but they're allergic to effort. They want praise for potential, not respect for progress. And that's why nothing changes. Because talking gives you a false sense of accomplishment. It tricks you into thinking you've already won just because you said it out loud. But the universe doesn't move for people who just talk. It moves for people who act, who grind, who sacrifice. Let me tell you something real. You don't need more people to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself enough to shut up and show up. You need to stop looking for applause and start looking for work. You need to stop saying, I'm gonna get it one day, and start asking, what can I do today to get one step closer? Because success doesn't come when you talk about the mountain. It comes when you start climbing. Inch by inch, step by step, no announcement, no celebration, just sweat, just struggle, just effort. And here's what separates the greats from the average. The greats don't waste energy proving anything to anyone with words. They let their results speak for them. They're too focused, too locked in, too obsessed with execution to stop and explain themselves. They don't need to post about their plans because they're too busy building them. They don't need to brag because they know the work will speak loud enough. And when the results finally show up, that's when the world starts listening. That's when people stop scrolling and start paying attention, not because you told them, but because you showed them. Talking is easy. Execution is costly, words are cheap, discipline is expensive. It'll cost you time, sleep, relationships, entertainment, comfort. It'll cost you everything if you're serious about getting to the next level. But if you're always talking, you'll never be fully present in the grind. You'll be too busy trying to impress instead of improve. You'll be too focused on who's watching rather than what you're becoming. And that's dangerous, because while you're announcing, someone else is advancing. While you're talking, someone else is training. While you're seeking validation, someone else is becoming unstoppable in silence. And that's why it's time to go dark, not because you're hiding, but because you're growing, not because you're scared, but because you're committed. The strongest trees grow roots in silence. The best warriors sharpen their swords in secret. And the most successful people you know, they went quiet before they blew up. They didn't need to prove anything with their mouth. They proved everything with their consistency. You don't need a crowd to be great. You don't need witnesses to be disciplined. You just need to do what needs to be done when nobody's watching. You just need to wake up every single day and fight like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future, your freedom, your family, your purpose, it's all depending on what you do, not what you say. So shut out the noise, zip your mouth, and show the world what happens when silence meets sacrifice. And don't expect everyone to understand. Some people will ask why you're so quiet now, why you stopped posting, why you're not hyping yourself up anymore. Let them ask, smile, and keep building, keep working. Let them see it when it's done. Let them feel the power when it's undeniable, when the business is built, when the body is transformed, when the bank account is overflowing, when your name gets brought up in rooms you haven't even stepped in yet. That's when you speak. That's when your work will talk for you louder than your voice ever could. So if you're tired of starting over, tired of falling short, tired of feeling stuck, it's time. Time to stop talking and start doing. Time to stop proving and start improving. Time to zip your mouth, lace your shoes, and get to work. You don't need more words. You need more will, more grit, more grind. The world doesn't owe you anything just because you announced your dream. But it will respect you when you've earned it, when your actions are louder than your words, when your life becomes the evidence of the fight you refuse to quit. So stop speaking, start executing, zip your mouth, and let your hustle do the talking. Everybody wants to be somebody. Everybody wants to be seen, heard, admired, respected. That's human, that's natural, but wanting attention doesn't build anything. Craving validation doesn't move mountains. You can't post your way to greatness. You can't talk your way to the top. You can't demand respect if you haven't done anything worthy of it. See, what most people don't understand is this. Your ego wants to be seen now, but your discipline wants to be remembered forever. And you've got to make a choice between the two. The ego is loud. It wants recognition. It wants credit. It wants to be clapped for before anything has even been earned. It wants the spotlight, the applause, the approval. The ego wants to post the grind more than it wants to live the grind. It wants to be called a winner without ever showing up for the fight. That's the trap. That's the danger. Because ego will sell you the illusion of greatness, while discipline is busy building the real thing. See, discipline don't need a crowd. It don't need a camera. It don't need someone saying good job. Discipline wakes up when you don't feel like it. Discipline goes to work when no one's watching. Discipline grinds through silence, pain, boredom, fatigue, and rejection. While ego is busy performing, discipline is busy producing. While ego is out chasing compliments, discipline is collecting results. The two are not the same. Ego wants the reward. Discipline embraces the work. Ego talks about the dream, discipline lives in the dirt. Ego wants to be celebrated. Discipline wants to be consistent. The people you admire, the ones who have what you want, they didn't get it because they shouted louder. They got it because they sacrificed longer. They didn't beg for attention. They earned respect through repetition, through showing up every day, through doing the hard things when nobody knew their name. That's the part the ego doesn't want to hear. It doesn't want the journey. It wants the destination. But discipline says, you don't deserve the destination if you won't endure the journey. You don't get to win championships without losing sleep. You don't get to be elite without being uncomfortable. You don't get to shine unless you've spent hours grinding in the dark. And that's where discipline lives. In the darkness, in the shadows, in the quiet corners where there's no glory, just grit. The ego will always tempt you. It'll tell you to show off before you've built anything. It'll push you to talk big so people think you're big. But here's the truth. The more you feed your ego, the more you starve your growth. Because ego wants quick. Discipline wants lasting. Ego wants flashy. Discipline wants solid. Ego wants the crown without the cross. But discipline carries the weight of the mission, the responsibility, the standard, even when no one's clapping. You can't serve two masters. You can't follow your ego and expect to grow. One of them's got to die. Either your ego dies so your future can live, or your future dies because your ego won't shut up. And most people, they let the ego win. They let their pride stop them from asking questions. They let their image stop them from being beginners. They let the fear of being judged stop them from starting, but not you. Not if you're serious. You've got to be willing to be unseen, unheard, underappreciated while you build. You've got to be willing to get up early and go to bed late with nobody watching. You've got to be willing to be broke, tired, sore, and ignored, knowing you're becoming someone they can't deny, because discipline doesn't beg, it doesn't need praise, it doesn't need permission. It just does the work every day, no matter how it feels. And let me tell you something, discipline is what separates the amateurs from the pros, the pretenders from the performers. The ego says, I've done enough. Discipline says, there's more in me. Ego quits when it gets hard. Discipline locks in even deeper. Ego blames the world. Discipline takes ownership. That's the fire you need if you're going to make it. That mindset. That relentless attitude that says, I will outwork this, outlast this, outgrow this. And here's the beauty, when you choose discipline over ego long enough, the world will notice. Eventually, people will ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile because you'll know they didn't see the 5 a.m. alarms. They didn't see the skipped parties, the lonely nights, the tears, the failures, the setbacks. They didn't see the grind, they just saw the results. But you'll know every inch of progress was paid for in full. Not with words, not with likes, but with commitment, with discipline. That's real power, not the kind you yell about, the kind you earn in silence, the kind that makes people respect you not because you talk big, but because you walk strong. Because your life, your work, your results, they speak for themselves, so don't fall for the trap. Don't let ego rob you of your future. Don't let pride steal your progress. Every time you're tempted to prove something with words, prove it with work instead. Every time you feel the urge to announce something, redirect that energy into execution. Let your discipline be your defense. Let your consistency be your confidence. Because when the pressure hits, when the world's watching, when it's all on the line, ego won't save you. Talk won't save you, attention won't save you, only your preparation will, only your habits will, only your discipline will. That's what shows up when everything else falls away. So silence the ego, embrace the grind. Keep showing up, keep locking in, keep doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. That's when it counts the most. That's when you're separating yourself. That's when you're becoming unstoppable. And when it's all said and done, when the world finally sees the results, your ego won't be the one standing at the top. It'll be your discipline. It'll be the version of you that stayed humble, stayed focused, and stayed working. So shut down the noise, starve the ego, feed the discipline. Let your life be so loud with progress you never have to say a word. You've been told silence is weakness, that if you're not loud, if you're not constantly announcing, posting, proving, shouting your worth, then you'll be overlooked. Ignored, forgotten, but that's a lie, that's noise, that's a trap for the insecure, because real ones know the truth. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's patience, it's power, it's strategy. See, there comes a point in your journey where the most dangerous thing you can do is talk too much. Give too much away, move too visibly. That's when your enemies study you. That's when your distractions multiply. That's when your energy leaks. And that's why the greatest players, the strongest minds, the most disciplined warriors all learn how to stay silent while they're building. You don't tell the world your every move when you're serious. You don't broadcast your process. You bury your head, you lock in, and you execute in silence. Not because you're scared, but because you're focused. Not because you're timid, but because you understand that real power doesn't perform, it prepares. Silence gives you space to think, space to move without resistance, space to make mistakes in private, correct them in peace, and sharpen your skills while nobody's watching. That's the advantage, that's the edge. Lions don't roar when they hunt. Snipers don't scream before they shoot. Champions don't brag before the match. Why? Because silence is not the absence of action. It's the presence of purpose. It's choosing not to react. It's choosing not to explain. It's choosing to do the work instead of talking about the work. It's choosing to guard your energy like it's gold, because it is. And when you waste it on constant validation, on trying to be seen too early, you weaken your position. You invite criticism, confusion, distraction. But when you stay silent, you gain clarity, you move with precision, you eliminate noise and focus only on what matters, execution. People get addicted to attention. They think movement has to be visible to be real. They think success is a highlight reel, but the truth is the real moves, the ones that change lives, the ones that change families, the ones that build empires, happen in quiet places. Early mornings, late nights, while everyone else is asleep, scrolling, partying, talking. You're grinding, you're sacrificing, you're investing. That's not just discipline, that's strategy. Because if they can't see you, they can't stop you. If they can't predict you, they can't block you. That's what silence gives you. An advantage most people are too impatient to use. Let them underestimate you. Let them forget about you. Let them doubt you. That's fuel. That's freedom. Because when they don't see you coming, they won't know how to prepare for the force you're about to become. They'll wake up one day and see the results. The business launched, the weight gone, the degree earned, the comeback complete. And they'll say, where did that come from? They'll say, when did you build all this? But you'll know, you built it in silence, you fought in the dark, you trained when no one cared, you bled for this when no one believed. And while they were getting loud, you were getting sharp. While they were seeking praise, you were seeking progress. While they were watching the clock, you were building the future. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. That's understanding the game. Because in this world, attention is currency. And when you give it all away too soon, you rob yourself of the compound effect that quiet, focused work creates over time. Silence lets your momentum grow uninterrupted. It lets you stay in the lab, stay in the gym, stay in the grind, without the pressure to perform for applause. That pressure can crush potential, but silence protects it. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The proof will be in your transformation. The silence is not a pause, it's a preparation, a gathering of power, a charging of energy, a building of something unstoppable. And when you come out of that silence, you won't need to say a word. Your results will roar. Your life will speak so loudly that the same people who doubted you will be the ones asking how you did it. And you won't need to respond, because silence was never about hiding. It was about building something so strong it couldn't be ignored. The world is loud. Everyone's trying to shout their way to the top. But real power doesn't yell. Real power moves. Real power builds. And real power knows when to speak and when to stay silent. Every time you hold your tongue instead of defending your dream to people who don't understand it, you win. Every time you resist the urge to post your progress just to feel seen, you stay strong. Every time you choose the quiet path of discipline over the loud path of validation, you sharpen your edge. It's not easy. Silence takes strength, it takes patience, it takes humility, but it's worth it. Because when you master silence, you master self-control. And when you master self-control, there's nothing you can't achieve. You become the storm they never saw coming. You become the force that doesn't beg, doesn't warn, doesn't need approval. You just move, you just rise, you just win. So if you're building something, if you're chasing something, if you're tired of talking and ready to start becoming, embrace the silence. Don't rush to be noticed. Don't race to be understood. Let your work do the talking. Let your progress be the conversation. Let your journey be so powerful it doesn't need to be explained, because the ones who are silent now are the ones who will be celebrated later. The ones who go dark are the ones who will shine the brightest. And the ones who move in silence are the ones who take the world by storm. So stay quiet, stay dangerous, stay focused, and when the time comes, let the world feel the weight of everything you built in silence.